All right, if I can have everyone's attention, we'll go ahead and get started with our post-race press conference following today's Toyota Save Mart 350 here at Sonoma Raceway. We are now joined by Dale Earnhardt Jr., driver of the number 88 Kelly Blue Book Chevrolet, who finished third in today's race. Your best finish here at Sonoma Raceway, currently third in points. Talk a little bit about your race out there today.
Yeah, we had a fast car all weekend, and we figured that our best opportunity to run well here would be to pit and get newer tires more often than everybody else. So having the 2 wins in the season allowed us to really, kind of gamble and go ahead and get back there in the mess and have newer tires, and it paid off. We were able to drive up through there. Just not, the two leaders, Jeff and Carl, didn't fall off as much as the one did, so I was hoping they might, but they were strong right at the end, all the way up to the end there.
Okay, we'll open up for questions. We'll start up front with Holly, then go back to Steve.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Dale, could you talk a little bit about the race? So you had an eventful day, I guess it would be fair to say. And also I heard you saying on pit road to Stevie, drive every time like this is your last year. It seems to be working.
Yeah, I told Stevie that I think I figured out what the trick is to being the really, really good crew chief is to run every to call the season like it's your last, because his strategy is aggressive and a little bit out of the box, and that pays off in most cases, because if you do everything everybody else is doing, you kind of fall into you're racing a lot more people trying to do everything else they're doing. So when you do something different, get off the the pattern pit-wise and stuff, get off the strategy, it seems to allow you to be a lot more aggressive. My car, I had the tires and was able to drive by those guys at the end. But, yeah, I had an eventful race, and I tore Matt Kenseth's car up pretty bad, jumping that curb. I was racing him a little hard there coming out of the turn 7. He probably had the preferred line, and I probably should have yielded to him, but I thought I was a little bit faster than him and didn't want to be stuck behind him. And I straddled a curb, and it just launched my car in the air right into his car. And hope he's not too sore today. But other than that, we got tangled up with a 47 somehow. He wheel hopped my left rear tire, and that spun him out. But other than that, we beat and banged a little bit. Everything that you normally see here, and I had a lot of fun. Other than the deal with Matt made me pretty sick, but other than that, it was a fun day.
Joining Dale, our second-place finisher, Jeff Gordon, driver of the number 24 Panasonic Chevrolet, who is our all-time winningest driver here at Sonoma Raceway. Jeff, talk a little bit about the race out there today and your second-place finish.
Yeah, it was a fun race, a tough one. Certainly tough for the guys making the calls in the garage or in the pits. Tire strategy and as well as us, on the track, because the cars just drove unbelievable on new tires, and you just felt like King Kong. You could just drive it so aggressively, and then 8 laps later it was where'd all the grip go, and you were on ice. So there was some tire management, which I love. I think that's really cool, to have that kind of a race and all the different strategies. And even, Carl, me, and Dale were all on different tires, as far as laps on them, and it made for a very interesting race. Gosh, I wish I could have had those last 5 or 6 laps to do over again. I started over driving it a little bit, trying to catch him and making a few mistakes. I made one in particular that really cost me. And I think if I just stayed smooth and stuck with it, looked like his car really started falling off those last couple laps, and I might have had a shot at least putting more pressure on Carl to force him to make a mistake or maybe get a run inside of him. Our car was great today. I felt confident it was going to be in the race. And it was exciting to when they dropped the green that we did have a car like that.
Okay, we'll take our question from Steve. Go ahead.
Steve Richards of PRN. Dale, is the strategy now for the road courses to stay away from VIR and Road Atlanta?
Yeah, I think even on Friday, practice was going so well. Steve said we weren't going to do anything preparing for Watkins Glen since we were so good. But or since it was going so well, we weren't the best car. But Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this a long, long time. If you know what you're doing driving these cars on a road course, you can go places and test and learn. But if you're not a great road course driver, if you're just kind of run of the mill, going over there to Road Atlanta, you're just going to work your guts out for nothing. So we sort of relied on our teammates a little bit that tested, and all that helped the most, really leaning on Jeff and those guys and what everybody learned when they came out here. And anybody that went to Road Atlanta or Kershaw, kind of leaning on that and just trusting what we were seeing in the data. And then coming, we went through. It really gave us a bit of a better attitude when we got here. And I think that helped us be more productive on Friday, which that's really important during those two practices to get everything you can. And if I get frustrated, Steve gets frustrated, we just don't really figure anything out. So we stayed calm and felt like we put a good car on the racetrack today.
We got a question in the back, then we'll come up to the middle.
Jeff, watching on the TV, it looks like friends or enemies. We were banging around pretty good. You and Jimmy had a couple of tassels towards the end of that race.
Yeah, those restarts when you're double foul like that, the first few corners get pretty hairy, and there's not really enough room to go side by side, and so you got to squeeze. If you're on the outside, you got to squeeze the guy on the inside. If you're on the inside, you got to kind of push the guy on the outside. And I got a run off of 4, and I went to go to the outside of Ambrose, and I don't know if Jimmy dove in there or if he was protecting, from somebody else trying to dive in there on him. But as I made the corner, he got into my right rear pretty hard, and I almost went around. And at the moment, you're just mad that it happened. So, I took it out on my right front fender, but it did more damage to my car than it did to his. And then, I calmed down, and we just went back to racing. And then I was able to get, he kind of got into it with whoever, Ambrose in front of him, and I got a run on him, but I was able to make a clean pass. So, I don't like to make judgment till you see the video, but we race hard, and we had a great race and banged with a bunch of guys, but I thought it was all just in good racing.
We'll take our next question here on the left.
Jeff, Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. It looked like that last lap, turn 11, you made it pretty close, got a little close to him. Did it feel like a possible pass, or was there just too much ground to make up at that point?
I mean, that particular area, my car was really good. I could really get into turn 11. I was just trying to get him to overdrive the corner and get up off the bottom. There's such an advantage to hook around those tires that had he missed it, which he did about 2 laps before that, I thought that I might be able to make it interesting. But no, he did lock up going in there, but he made the corner, and that was it. At that point, it's a desperate move. It's not one worth wrecking the guy on, because if you're racing the guy and you get a couple runs on him, he blocks you, and he blocks you here, and he blocks you there, and you're faster, then you might not give an inch. You might go in there and you might use the bumper. But, I really had just caught him, and so that's why I wish I could have had those last 5 laps to do over again, because I think if I could have not made a couple mistakes, I would have been on him with more like 2 laps to go, and I think I would have had a shot. But, hey, that's the way it goes, and we finished second.
We'll take one in the back, then we'll go upstairs and come back down.
Curtis Michelka, San Jose Mercury News. Dale, you mentioned the incident with the 47 here at 11. Is that just one of those things that happened in the hairpin as far as the contact there?
Yeah, I thought I gave him enough room on the outside. He had a lot of wheel. We're coming out of that corner, and his right front poking out like that jumped the left rear of my car. And I felt it yank on the car real hard and looked in the mirror, and I thought he and about 10 other cars were wrecking. But I thought the caution was coming out, but I don't know how bad it was for him. But I just got around him, and we got down into that corner, and I ran low, protecting my line. He shot to the outside, and that's his prerogative. And but I thought I gave him enough room. I didn't think I ran him in the fence.
Okay, do we have any questions upstairs?
Yeah, this one's for Jeff. Jeff, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Is this, we've been seeing you in here a lot lately. Is this the most optimistic maybe you've been about how you've been running maybe the last 5-6 years?
Absolutely. It's certainly the most consistent, great cars that I've had going week in and week out to have cars that are capable of either winning or running up front. So we're, I'm very confident in what I'm getting behind the wheel of every weekend, and that just is because all the hard work that's going on at Hendrick, and all the data and work that everybody behind the scenes is doing, as well as Alan and our engineers. I'm just working really well with them, clicking with them, but the cars are just really, really good, and that's making a lot of fun for me.
Additional questions upstairs?
Dustin Long, MRN.com for Dale, and I just got in here, so I apologize if you answered this, but just the meaning of getting a top five, and is that beyond the expectations coming into this weekend, and what does it mean for you and your team to get this type of performance at this type of track?
Well, aside from, holding the trophy, this is like a win for us. We came in here and knew we had a good car throughout practice, and I've been in the top 10 in a lot of these races with 2 or 3 laps to go, but we just never been able to finish. And so to be clear of the mess and just having an advantage of the tires at the end, there's a lot of confidence, and knowing we were going to be able to wrap it up, or feeling like we were in good position to wrap it up was really good. The car was fun to drive all weekend. Had a great time in practice. Qualifying was fun, a little frustrating to get hung up there. I thought we could have qualified a lot better, but still, the car's been fun to drive. We've been one of the better cars, and that certainly makes it fun when you're not having to be defensive and root and gouge for every little spot. So whatever the guys learned throughout testing and trying to prepare for this race really, I think, helped out the whole organization. All the cars were real quick today.
Anything else up top?
No more questions.
Okay, we'll take our final 2 questions right here.
Donna Beth Weilenman, Benicia Herald. This is for both. The first question is for both of you. The tire testing here got rained out in March, and since tires were a big issue this race, I was wondering if you could tell me how you made up for that. Second question is for Jeff Gordon. It's about when you got a chance to test over at New Smyrna Beach. My husband used to race over there, so I was wondering what you learned at some of these short tracks.
Well, I'll take the first one since Dale wasn't here during the tire test. It was just the 24 and 14 and a couple other guys. It only rained out the first day. The second day, we actually pretty much got the full day, and so we were able to learn, something anyway. And we, even though we didn't actually test on the tire that they brought here, we test on similar ones, and maybe the 14 tested on this exact one. But it was close to the one that I liked the most, that had good grip at the beginning, and it did fall off. We knew it was going to fall off, but it seemed like some of the other ones fell off just as much or more. So, I like this tire. I think it's not easy to drive at the end, which can be good and bad. But it's got a lot of grip at the beginning. So I think it switches up the pit strategy, where it's not always just about fuel mileage. We've been racing fuel mileage races out here for the last several years, and I think that it's nice that tires make a difference. So I like it. I wish we had tires like this more places. The New Smyrna. Yeah, okay. I get mixed up with all the places we go and test. We just short track testing, stuff, just seeing what we can learn. We go to all the tracks that we can't race on, and if there's some place that's close to Charlotte with good weather that might be able to teach us a little bit, then we'll go there. I thought that it was more for fun than learning anything, I'll be honest. There's not another track that we go to that's anything like that. Not to mention there was water seeping out of the track that we were driving through. So it was a fun day, but I don't know if maybe Dale and those guys learned some things there, but I didn't think that we did.
It's a fun track. Be able to go run somewhere. If they want, we're going to have to test. The drivers don't line the test stuff the crew chiefs do. So when you go somewhere fun, at least it makes it go by a little quicker.
Final question, Holly.
I have one for Jeff and for Dale. Jeff, I seem to recall conversation yesterday with you after qualifying, and you said to me you weren't really one bit worried, and I should talk to you today when all the Hendrick cars finish, and you had 4 in the top 8. Is that just how much confidence you have right now in the team and in the program? And Dale, I'll ask this, and you improved your finish here by quite a substantial deal, and you were running fast in practice, and looking at your Twitter account, it looked like you may even have surprised yourself a little bit how well you were running on Friday. How big a boost is this for you personally, and how you feel about road courses? Are you starting to love them a little bit more now?
You like them when the cars are working good. I've had some good cars over the years. Yeah, I mean, you always say that when you qualify 15th. You know, you always say, hey, talk to me tomorrow when it's all over. I mean, I had confidence that we were much better than that. And that was just based on how our car drove in practice. You know, I think that's kind of what Dale's alluding to as well. Is you have a certain feel that you're looking for, and you look at the lap times, and I thought our lap times were competitive, and the car had a pretty good feel. So I didn't feel like we were going to stay back there all day long. And I was hoping that all the Hendrick cars would, you know, that didn't qualify good would come to the front, and I thought that they would. And that wasn't being like so confident just in everything. I mean, things are going well for us, but it was really just solely looking at the lap times and how my car felt.
I really enjoy running at Watkins Glen, and I feel like that I understand what I need to do, not whether I do it every lap, but what I need to do to get around there and what I'm looking for in the car to be competitive. This is a real technical track where the corners are lined up one after the other, and if you make a mistake in turn 2, you really don't clean it up until turn 4. And so everything sort of has to line up, and the corners, you need to really put the corners together in succession, and that takes a certain mentality and a certain understanding of road course racing that guys like myself don't have, coming from the late models and oval tracks and stuff like that. So you have to go to school, you have to study, you have to listen to people, you have to run as many laps as you can at practices and tests and stuff like that early in your career to adapt and understand. So, you know, just certain guys have certain backgrounds. McMurray ran all those kart races, and I think that's paid off for him. He's very competitive at the road courses, especially this place. But the Glen has always kind of been fun, and it's an equalizer because it has so many long straightaways. You just run down a straightaway and get through a turn, then run down a straightaway and get through a turn. So pretty much everybody can kind of figure that out. But this place is really technical. And if the car's just a little bit off, I sort of get lost as to what I need and what I want the car to do and how I need the car to drive and what I'm looking for in the car. And so we sort of, when we get off the path in practice, we really never recover throughout the weekend. But we were fast all weekend and just kind of put it together.